Hey folks, welcome to the channel. I'm Don, this is Rockin' a Country. This is I don't want to say so much an unusual, well I guess it is, but not in a bad way or pejorative way. This is a different request. William Connerley made a gift to the channel for me to do like a comparison, and it's fascinating. I'm going to just read what was in the request, and it says this. William said this: I would like to request something a little different if possible. I would like to request Stuart Hamblen's This Old House. This is a different song than the previously reacted to song This Old House. There are 2 links for the song. All right, you didn't provide the links, so I think I did a good job at finding the ones that you had intended, William. And you said the first link is Mr. Hamblen's introduction to the song, and the song as he wanted it recorded. And then you said, I recommend that you play it to about the 6:11 point of the first link. Hopefully I got the correct one. I think I did. And then the complete second link as first released. The second link is the first release of the song as wanted by RCA, the label. I think the comparison will help explain what the writer is wanting to create, and then the changes that the music industry requires of the songwriter and performer to get their song recorded. I think it might be nice to compare what the songwriter was thinking at the time of the writing, the song, and what is recorded. But maybe you can't complain about the record company too much, as the recording was a #2 country hit, charted in the national chart. So those are very salient points. I mean, that's a legitimate point right there. You can see if it went to #2, the influence of the people in the labels aren't idiots. They just, I mean, many people think they're misguided. But if their goal is profit and not artistry, which is whether you're a painter or a songwriter, any kind of artist, that's always the battle. Because you've got or a ballet company, you've got to stay in business. So you kind of got to give the people what they want. And so anyway, I'm just going to do this. This is going to be like the introduction to how he wanted it written. And I think this is connected to John Wayne in some way. All right. And these will be back-to-back posts. The song will be in a separate link.
Some years back, when I was on a hunting trip way up in the high Sierra mountain range, I had a rather strange thing happen to me. It was a cold, and I do mean a cold day. I'd ridden my horse up over a big ridge and was letting him blow a bit, and I happened to look away off down in a wild, desolate-looking valley, and I could see an old log cabin. Well, I was about in the mood to freeload somebody off a cup of coffee, so I rode my horse down toward the place. But when I rode up, I was rather disappointed because it looked like there was nobody living there. I could see the front door had been blown down, kind of like it had been wrestling with a storm. In fact, it was a lonely-looking place. I was just about to ride on when I got a big surprise. An old hound dog came staggering out of that old cabin and just real wearily like lay down on the porch.
Oh.
Now, I know a dog will not long remain at a deserted place, but if his master is in that place, he'll stay there till he starves to death, and this dog looked like he wasn't far from doing that. Because that old dog was there, and because there was no smoke coming out of that chimney, that place might have looked deserted, but I knew it wasn't.
Passed away.
This dog was telling me a story, and I thought to myself, there's something wrong here. The thought hit me with a foreboding premonition. There was a man there somewhere. I swung down off my horse, walked up to the porch, and that old dog wearily got up and started slowly back into the house, same as to say, come on, I'll lead you to him.
Yep.
I stepped over the old door that was caved in. It was dark in the old house, and I couldn't see anybody about. I saw the old dog standing over by another door. I walked over and opened it, and I saw him, a little old man on a couch. As I walked up closer, I could see that he had snow on his chest. Snow that had sifted in through a broken window pane above him. I don't know how long the old man had been dead. He just looked like he was asleep. His old dog came up and began to whine. Now and then he'd look up to me with a pleading look, same as say, "Can't you do something to help him?" Then I happened to notice shabby window curtains that would sway back and forth every time the wind came through that broken window. A man's not going to put up window curtains in a cabin that's at least 20 miles from the nearest road. A man won't do that. A woman had hung up those curtains. I began to wonder what had happened to her. I turned and walked back out into the yard and sat down on a fallen tree. I noticed there wasn't any snow on that tree. Perhaps a storm had recently visited the mountains and blown it over. As I looked around, I could see a little toy wagon way up under the porch. A wagon that only had 3 wheels. And I wondered, where were the children that once played with that broken wagon?
Yeah.
I can't explain it, but I reached in my coat pocket and got a little paper sack out, and I thought I'd like to paint a word picture of that place. I began the lyrics with, "This old house once knew my children. This old house once knew my wife." Well, you know the rest of the story. This old house was a song hit of 7 different countries at the same time. But I don't think that anyone ever got the true meaning that I intended the song to convey. You see, I wrote it to be a sad song. And when I made the first recording, I did it that way. But then the recording industry said, "Oh, Stuart, you're all wrong. To be a hit, it's got to have a real bounce to it." Well, not long ago, I was up in our attic and happened to run across that first old tape recording that I'd made. Perhaps if you listen to it, you can get the true meaning that I wanted the song to have. You see, most people thought the song was just about a poor, lonely prospector and his half-dead dog that had cashed in their blue chips way up high in the Sierra Mountains during a wild storm. But that wasn't it at all. The song was about 2 houses. The house that's made of mud, brick, and wood and stone that a man builds. And the other house, the mortal house. The house that the maker of men has loaned to the man for such a short time.
Ain't gonna need this house no longer. I'm getting ready to meet the saints.
This old house once knew my children. This old house once knew my wife. This old house was home and comfort as we fought the storms of life. This old house once rang with laughter. This old house heard many a shout. Now she trembles in the darkness when the lightning walks about. But ain't gonna need this house no longer. Ain't gonna need this house no more. Ain't got time to fix the shingles. Ain't got time to fix the floor. Ain't got time to oil the hinges or to mend the window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer. I'm a-getting ready to meet the saints. This old house is a-getting shaky. This old house.
William, I can't turn this thing off, man. I can just let this part play, and then I'll go get the other one that I think you wanted.
It's getting old. This old house lets in the rain. This old house lets in the cold. On my knees days I'm getting chilly, but I feel no fear nor pain, 'cause I see an angel peeking through a broken window pane. But I ain't gonna need this house no longer, ain't gonna need this house no more. Ain't got time to fix a shingle,
Kind of has a happy feel,
ain't got
this one.
time to fix the floor, ain't got time to oil the hinges or to mend the window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer, I'm getting ready to meet the saints. My old hound dog lies asleep.
Yeah.
He don't know I'm gonna leave.
What a storyteller.
Else he'd wake up by the fireplace. He'd just sit there and howl and grieve. But my hunting days are over. We ain't going hunting anymore. Gabriel done brought in my chariot when the wind blew down the door. But I ain't gonna need this house no longer, ain't gonna need this old house no more. Ain't got time to fix the shingles, ain't got time to fix the floor, ain't got time to oil the hinges or to mend the window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer, I'm getting ready to meet the saints.
Wow. I'm going right into the next song. Okay, I'm going into the other one, and I'm going to try to put all the pieces together, William, that you had suggested, and I think I'm getting on the right track. This one actually sounded like the one that maybe the label wanted him to put out, the one that we just heard, because it did have a bounce to it. It wasn't so sad. Let's see what the other is, and I hope I got the right link. Let's find out. Oh, no, this is the up-tempo happy one, I think. Happier.
This old house once knew my children, this old house once knew my wife. This old house was home and comfort as we fought the storms of life. This old house once rang with laughter, this old house heard many shouts. Now she trembles in the darkness when the lightning walks about.
Ain't gonna need this house no longer, ain't gonna need this house no more.
Ain't got time to fix the shingles, ain't got time to fix the floor, ain't got time to oil the hinges, not to mend the window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer, I'm a getting ready to meet the saints.
What's fascinating about this is that, like, we listen to this today and we say, wow, that is just genuine, true country storytelling. That's the real country. But to Stuart, this was not real country. It had progressed based on what the label wanted to be a different version. It went to number 2, so clearly everybody had a part in that, including the label. But it is fascinating that, like, things change, and those of us who are more traditional in ways, we don't necessarily like the changes being made, but other people really do. God knows what country music's going to look like in 50 years if it's even still around in that form. Who knows?
This old house is a-getting shaky, this old house is a-getting old. This old house lets in the rain, this old house lets in the cold. On my knees I'm getting chilly, but I feel no fear of pain, 'cause I see an angel peeking through a broken window pane.
Ain't gonna need this house no longer, ain't gonna need this house no more.
Ain't got time to fix the shingles, ain't got time to fix the floor, ain't got time to oil the hinges, not to mend the window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer, I'm a-getting ready to meet the saints.
Have happy feel to it, right?
This old house is afraid of thunder, this old house is afraid of storms. This old house just groans and trembles when the night wind flings its arms. This old house is getting feeble, this old house is needing pain. Just like me, it's tuckered out, but I'm getting ready to meet the saints.
Ain't you gonna need this house no longer, ain't you gonna need this house no more.
Ain't got time to fix the shingles, ain't got time to fix the floor, ain't got time to oil the hinges, not a mend the window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer, I'm getting ready to meet the saints.
Never know.
And my old
like
hound dog lies asleep and he don't know I'm gonna leave. Else he'd wake up by the fireplace and he'd sit there and howl and grieve. But my hunting days are over, ain't gonna hunt the coon no more. Gabriel done brought in my chariot when the wind blew down the door. Ain't gonna need this house no longer, ain't gonna need this house no more. Ain't got time to fix the shingles, ain't got time to fix the floor, ain't got time to oil the hinges, not a mend the window pane. Ain't gonna need this house no longer, I'm getting ready to meet the saints.
Ready to meet the saints.
You would never know that he didn't write that song or intend it to go as this one. That whatever the instruction is that the label gave him, he took it and ran with it. You would never know listening to this. You would think that is just what he wanted. But that's the way it goes. Like when you watch a movie, you see the actors doing all this stuff on screen and stuff, and you don't know that they're not getting along with each other that necessarily. I mean, maybe they do, but frequently you'll read stories about how this actor or actress was just like a major diva and just a huge douche, or just a jerk, and these two didn't get. But you see them on screen, and they just look just so because they are acting. They're professionals. They're going to do that, but you don't want to hear about the drama between the producer and the actor and these people, all the things, all the crap going on behind the scenes. When you watch a movie, you watch your 2-hour movie, you get a feel from it and you go. And that is a very professional job about how things work. In a song like this, it's the same deal. The label has to work with the artist because the labels are the ones laying out the money to promote the artist and all that. It's very expensive to promote an artist and cut albums and all the studio time and the tour and the advertising and all that. So they have to recoup that, and then they're charged with making money. But you still would never know that that was going on behind the scenes unless later on Stuart told us, which he did. So now that's fascinating. I mean, you really wouldn't know. I mean, I like both versions, but if you were to say to me pre-release, listen to these two versions of the song, which one do you like better? I'd actually say the one that the label did. And so sometimes it's sort of like be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. It's not always going to be the best thing. And I mean, the song was originally meant to be a sad song, and it was. But, you know, the record companies also are taking a look at the other artists they have and the number of sad songs that they're releasing. They know they need some happy songs. They know they need a good mix of different, and they're promoting a new artist. And then how much money are they going to put into promoting the successful artists at the time? Because those artists, you know, demand special treatment too. And they're the ones that make money for the labels anyway. So it's sort of like for every one artist that makes money for a label, there are like 10 that lose money for the label. And so that one artist, really, the label needs to put time into them and money into them to promoting them, because it's not an economy of scale. But when you're that successful, they're the ones supporting the money losing efforts of the other artists. So I get it. But if you were to say, which one do you like better? I would have said the one that the label came out with, William. So I don't know if you concur. Of course, we have our own tastes and such, but that is a good find. I wonder, were you or are you in some capacity involved in music, or other than just being like a fan of it and knowing your stuff and for, you know, years and decades? Because this isn't a normal find, what you just found. So well, thank you for the gift. I'm not going to rate that. That was just a heck of an experience. Like, I love this stuff. I love the comparative stuff. And I'm going to keep this on one video. So I had initially said I was going to separate them, but I'm going to keep this on one video. So you can thank William for that. That was a just fantastic look at things. And it sort of gives you a lot to think about. That the one that the label wanted, I liked. Now look at contemporary country and the bubblegum repetitive stuff. That drives me nuts. But I don't know. There's just enough good, beautiful music out there that I can, you know, Miranda Lambert is still arguably my favorite artist. Her songs just move me and make me feel things in a whole different way. And they relate to topics that I relate to and such. But then again, I'll listen to Waylon or Don Williams, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't stop listening to them. So there it is, folks. You can thank William for that. I sure do. And there, have a great day. I'll see you on another video. Keep rocking the country.